Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Trains Per Network. Enjoy the trains, enjoy this intro.
Look at that! Aha! Welcome back, 400! Welcome back!
Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome, everybody, to our third team we're going to talk the history of, and it is time we get to a rival of the Green Blizzard in the AFL currently. We're talking about the Iowa Barnstormers. That's right. Now, the story with this is getting interesting. We're doing a two-part series, but part one is going to be interesting. If you're looking at our little ticker on the bottom, you're going to see that we're talking about them in the AF1, the AFL, and then the AF2. Because it's a long story. They were within this, but there's also a story about this. The first part about this Iowa, the 1995-2000 team, is not the current team that you are used to, guys. Technically, Iowa's two teams. But let's talk about the original Iowa Barnstormers from 1995 to 2000. So on April 29th of 1994, the AFL approved an expansion team to be placed in Iowa to begin playing in a 1995 season, and a certain NFL Hall of Fame quarterback by the name of Kurt Warner was on this football team. That is right. But let's talk about 1995. This team went 7-5, second in division, and their 7 wins were against the Milwaukee Mustangs, the Miami Hooters. I'm going to have a laugh with that. Connecticut, Arizona, St. Louis, and Memphis. Sorry, I don't know why I froze for one. But this team, well, they made it to the semifinals, but the Orlando Predators did end up beating these guys in the semifinals by a final score of 56-49. 1996 for this team. 12-2 on the year. The 12 wins came against the Minnesota Fighting Pike, Connecticut twice, Charlotte, Memphis twice, Auburn D, Orlando, and Anaheim. But again, in the Arena Bowl number 10, this would have been lost to the Tampa Bay Storm. Sorry, little effect around one side. Lost by a final score of 42-38. And the last year, Kurt Warner, which was 1997, this team went 11-3. The 11 wins were in the regular season against Texas twice, Portland twice, Auburn D twice, Anaheim, the Milwaukee Mustangs twice, the Orlando Predators, and the Tampa Bay Storm. And again, for the second year, this team made it to the Arena Bowl. This one was number 11, but unfortunately, this team lost the Arena Bowl number 10 to the Arizona Rattlers, as you would have learned from our Arizona series by a final score of 55-33. And now we enter 1998. Obviously, we know Kurt Warner went to the St. Louis Rams. This team was forced to rebuild after losing the eventual two-time NFL MVP. Well, not a good 1998 5-9 to end the season, which tells you one thing: you lost Kurt Warner. It's a whole different team. Their 5 wins were against Grand Rapids, Nashville, Albany, San Jose, and New Jersey. 1995 though came along. 11-3, they found their way back into first place once again. 11 wins came against twice Houston, once Orlando, Portland, San Jose, Nashville, Buffalo, Albany, Milwaukee, New Jersey, and Grand Rapids. This team got back to the playoffs. But unfortunately, this team lost in the semifinals to the Orlando Predators by a final score of 48-41. Um, and we get to the 2000 season, the last year of the original Iowa Barnstormers, 9-5, first place in the division. 9 wins came against Buffalo, Houston twice, Milwaukee twice, Tampa Bay, Nashville, Grand Rapids, and Albany. And unfortunately, this team lost in the quarterfinals to Nashville by a final score of 63-56. Unfortunately, it came to an end for this team. Now you're probably asking, what happened to that original Iowa Barnstormers team? Well, the need, let's just say this, folks, they moved that team to New York City, and it became the New York Dragons. But though, folks, the Arena Football Organization awarded an AF2 franchise to Iowa in the 2001 season while continuing with the Barnstormers name. And while 2001, they went 9-7 in the AF2, had 9 wins against Memphis, Jacksonville. Who was that opponent again? Hold on. Sorry, folks. I gotta look again with these teams because sometimes I don't know how you. Let me look at your. Sorry, guys. You think I would have like my brain be there? The Stealths. I'm gonna say a team name with that one. They also went out and beat the Prairie, the Knights, Rochester, Norfolk's, Louisville twice, and oh god, I'm sorry, folks. Man, 2001. They had some interesting names, team locations. Beat the Roughnecks. There we go. Sorry, guys. Ended up not making the playoffs in 2001. And they, let's just say this, folks. However, lower attendance, less than half of the average in the AFL franchise, and a relatively poor season, would lead to the team suspending operation following their first season, 2001. Which then we took a not a 1 year hiatus. It took them until we go to September 20th of 2007. The AF2 announced that they had approved an inactive franchise's new ownerships, meaning the Barnstormers would resume playing in 2008 at Wells Fargo Arena. They held practices at the historical Veterans Auditorium. So this team came back alive back in they resumed in 2008, and let's talk about, after being on a hiatus for 6 years, this team went 6-10. They were 5th in their division. Their 6 wins came against twice Quad City, Stockton, Louisville, the Knights, and Kentucky. Where there's 6 wins in that 2008 season, no playoffs, unfortunately. But 2009, they were 12-4. They got back to the playoffs the first time in a while. And they had the 12 wins against Milwaukee twice, Tulsa twice, the Knights won twice, Green Bay, Amarillo twice, Quad City twice, Spokane, and Oklahoma City. But unfortunately, they lost in the conference semifinals to the Green Bay Blizzard by a final score of 51-40. And now there's more. they returned back then to the Arena Football League in 2010, and this was announced on September 28th of 2009. They announced that the Barnstormers announced their status as a charter member of the new Arena Football League. And their first year back in this Arena Football League, they went to 7-9, having their 7 wins against Oklahoma City, Orlando, Chicago. If I'm remembering so, I hope I do. I think they were the. Oh my god, I'm sorry, guys. I have completely forgot who heck this team was. I gotta look it up here again. I'm sorry, everyone. You think I would remember what put down, but sometimes I really forget who the heck that team is. Hold on 1 second here, folks. I will get that team for you. The Battle Wings. That's what it was. Sorry, folks. The Battle Wings, Utah, Dallas, and Arizona were their such victories. No playoffs, unfortunately. 2011, well, it wasn't better at all. It was 5-13, fifth in their division. Their wins came against the Spokane Shock, San Jose, Utah, Tulsa, and Kansas City. 2012, though, not even better. Still no playoffs. 7-11 this year. Spokane, Pittsburgh, Arizona, Kansas City twice. Cleveland and San Antonio were their 7 wins in 2012. And 2013, again, another year, no playoffs. 6-12 on the year. 6 wins were against Chicago, New Orleans twice, San Jose, Cleveland, and San Antonio. I'm sorry, yeah. That was their 6 win 2013. And their final year in the Arena Football League, they went 6-12. Their 6 wins were against Portland, San Jose, San Antonio twice, LA, New Orleans, and Orlando. But then it comes to, we'll go to the announcement here. On June 27th of 2014, the Barnstormers president, Jeff, told Who TV in Des Moines, saying that the franchise will explore all options, quotes, in the offseason of their continuation of play, including leaving the AFL and going to the Indoor Football League for 2016. So they were looking at it, and well, later on in August 27th of 2014, that will bring us to part 2. The Barnstormers announced they become members of the Indoor Football League. But that brings us to the end of part number 1 of the history of the Iowa Barnstormers. Thank you guys so much for watching. And stay tuned, folks, for part number 2 on the Iowa Barnstormers in the Indoor Football League. Thank you guys for watching, and we will see you guys for that. Peace out, everyone.